Hey, what's up? This is Aewon Wolf. Welcome to another exciting episode, and thank you for joining me today. Thank you for clicking that video. It really means a lot that you guys click and take the time. My videos are all about helping you become a better version of yourself and just being happy and productive in life. So if you appreciate those kinds of videos, please like, subscribe, but most importantly, hit the notification bell and you can be alerted whenever I drop one of these videos, because unfortunately YouTube needs you to click that notification bell if you really want to be alerted. It's also important that you take the time to watch these videos, and if you don't have the time, please just save to watch later. That's an option you have, and if you do have the time, please just be patient and actually listen, because everything that I have might not be exciting for some, but it's very helpful if you take the time to listen and actually learn from my experiences, because this is stuff that's been fundamental to making me who I am and making me better and happier. So with that said, let's get into today's video. You click on this video because you want to know how I quit drinking. Ooh, that's a good one. Number one, I have to be clear that I was not an alcoholic. Most people, when I tell them that I don't drink or I quit drinking, they immediately assume and jump to the point that I must have been an alcoholic or an excessive drinker or some kind of problem I had with drinking. This is very problematic if you think about it, because that's how society has been conditioned to think that the only time you need to stop drinking as an adult is only if there is a good reason, a good enough reason to quit, even though there really wasn't a good reason for you to start. Let me just look at what alcoholic is by definition. Continued excessive or compulsive use of drinks. So it'd be safe to say that I was an alcoholic, or was I? Or are you? Question: how many drinks is heavy drinking to you? What do you consider heavy or excessive or binge drinking? And next question is, how many drinks do you have when you go out? Keep that number in your head and consider this for later. And I'll tell you what the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism says about that, and what they consider the number is, according to scientific research, of course. Listen, I'll be fair. The classic saying is that, I don't need alcohol, I just enjoy it. That's what everybody says. That's pretty much what I said too. If that is true for you, if you don't need it and you just use it only to enjoy it, then I challenge you to something. Challenge you to, for the next 6 months, go out, do what you usually do, but just don't drink. Replace the drink with water, Red Bull, soda. We can discuss the health factors of those things later on, but just want you to do this experiment. Just replace them for the next 6 months. Actually, let's not even say 6 months. Let's say 3 months or a month. Depends on how much you're going out. But the point is, just try and do this without drinking. And then you tell me how that plays out for you. Did you feel like you didn't need the alcohol? But crazy. I'd love to see how that experiment plays out for you. Please hit me in the comment sections if you do try this experiment, and let me know how that played out for you. So back to my story, and the next point, which is point number 2, is basically what you clicked on this video for, is how did I quit? Let's start with the whys, because the whys are essential to how I quit. Number 1, I quit around 2017. In 2016, and I've shared this in multiple videos, had a realization, an epiphany, whatever you want to call it. I had a moment of clarity in which I questioned a lot of things, and I decided I'm going to pursue this aim of finding my happiness and finding what is true for me, and start questioning everything of what society taught me, and only keep those things that help me be happy. One of the things that I decided was really important was my health, and health was vital. So in doing a lot of binge research and learning a lot about health and what's really important with health, and how do you maintain your health, and how do you create a level of security for your health, because there's no guarantees in life, but you do have a certain level of autonomy and choice in how your life plays out in terms of your health. I found that the majority of all major sicknesses, if not all major sicknesses and diseases, are caused by alcohol, or alcohol contributes or exacerbates the severeness of said sickness or disease. All of them. It's crazy. You think I'm making this up? Just think of any serious major disease, diabetes, cancer, stroke, whatever you can think of, and alcohol either contributes or can exacerbate the severeness of that disease. This is not me just thumb-sucking this. Do the research. Learn for yourself. I would like to assume that most people know this, but it seems like society does brainwash us to forget this at times and not think about it, or just put it to the side, in which we think we'll be the exception and we are not going to be the one that gets sick because of it. That's a whole different discussion that I can get into in a different video. But I came to a realization and accepted that alcohol, or drinking alcohol, was going to be an issue with my health journey. So I decided I will do what every normal person who discovers this: I'll cut down. I didn't quit, I cut down. And I think that's what everybody expects, and everyone would assume is the reasonable choice and what should be done, is to cut down and not necessarily quit. And I'm sure plenty of people started this video saying, why do I have to quit? I could just cut down. Here's why this is a problem. When I started to cut down, I actually did research on how much I should cut down and what's the reasonable amount that I should drink, in which I still pursue my goals and achieve my goals of being able to be healthy and prevent most of these diseases. And the consistent feedback and the consistent number of drinks I should have when going out was 2. Consistently, most studies said that 2 was the number, or the good number, in which alcohol is still acceptable and okay for you. Not necessarily good, but okay for you to consume. So according to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, heavy alcohol use is defined as, for men, consuming more than 4 drinks on any day. Just let that sink in. 4 drinks or more. That's considered what heavy drinking is. And for women, consuming more than 3 drinks on any day defines heavy drinking. The Institute also defines binge drinking as 5 drinks or more on any day and 4 drinks or more for women. So ask yourself, are you a heavy drinker or not a heavy drinker based on the number that you said before? Be realistic. This is only to yourself. And keep in mind that all these studies do mention that heavy drinking or drinking in excess is what contributes to putting you at a higher risk or contributing to a lot of these major sicknesses and diseases. So can you say that you are not at risk because you're a moderate drinker? And do you stick to that number of 2? You answer that question to yourself. So back to my story. As much as it was so hard to accept 2, me being me, I decided I'm going to stick to that number. I will work with the number 2. So 2 drinks were my limit. In this time, I went out and I owned a venue. I don't like to call it a club, but some people call it a club. A pretty popular venue.
See you guys at the Future Africa concert tonight at the Warehouse, Durban. Turn up.
In Durban with a lot of events.
I want to send a big shout out to Aewon
and a lot of social gatherings, obviously. And I would limit to only 2 drinks, even though I have an endless supply of alcohol or access to alcohol in my venue. This wasn't too hard for me per se, sticking to the 2 drinks part. What I found interesting is that in drinking 2 drinks, I obviously did not get drunk or the level of tipsy or the high that I wanted. And I noticed I didn't enjoy being in that setting or being in that social environment. the anxiety I felt before I had a few drinks was maybe there for a reason. In that, I started paying attention to what I was picking up on, or what made me uncomfortable, and why I wasn't enjoying myself like everybody else. And I noticed that maybe my mind was picking up on all the different situations and dangers that are around you when you are in a club or a social gathering with people drinking and partying, etc., etc. I noticed there's so many things that happen around you that are just warning bells for your unconscious mind, and that's probably why it's uncomfortable to be in those kinds of environments without drinking to subdue that alertness or that warning bell that's going off at the back of your mind. And I started picking up on those things and started saying, well, maybe I'm uncomfortable for a reason. So then I started looking at the second side of that coin and asked myself, well, why am I still there? Obviously, I had a good reason. I owned the venue. I had to be there. I had this was a gathering that I was facilitating. This is my business. This is my so-called calling, because I created the venue to help people, and I wanted to help people in the entertainment industry and giving them a venue to explore their talents and expose their talents and do so much more with their talents with the space. But I found that even with all those reasons, I couldn't reconcile why I was there. So I started making the decision of saying, unless I am vitally needed there, because I had managers, I had staff, I had partners who were ready to be there, and thankfully I had them around, and I was there on a daily basis during the day, handling what I could during the day, every day, to lead up to the events. So why was I needed at the actual event itself? So I started staying at home. When I started staying at home, this is when I had more time to start exploring myself and what I enjoyed and what I liked. Which brings me to the next point of how I quit. Once I started staying at home and removing myself from the situations that require me to drink or be comfortable only with drinking, did it become obvious and easy for me to just say, why do I even need the 2 drinks in the first place? Because I found that even having the drinks was never really about me. It became about making other people uncomfortable when they asked, why am I not drinking? And me saying, because I don't drink. That was a stupid reason to keep drinking. I just realized I don't need to drink at all. And if someone had to ask me or feels uncomfortable, maybe I shouldn't be around that person in the first place if they're uncomfortable by me not drinking. So essentially, removing myself from situations that require me to drink is how I quit. And that is your simple answer. I bet you expected something deep and convoluted, and yes, I went deep, but that's pretty much the answer. Is removing myself from situations that required alcohol allowed me to quit alcohol. And removing myself from those situations put me in a better position, and I didn't lose out, because we live in a world where we hit with FOMO, and alcohol companies have become really good at selling FOMO. I know this because I was one of their pawns. And not to knock or speak badly of any of the brands that I worked with in terms of alcohol brands, because there were great people involved in those companies, but the industry itself needs to sell you on the normality of drinking and socializing. It's what drives the business. And society has been so entrenched by this marketing ploy that you cannot see yourself or find yourself in a social setting and be comfortable without a drink. And one thing that I realized is that a lot of these parties or clubs or events don't really sell much to me that I couldn't get in other places. Change your environment, change the people you have around. And if you lose people, listen, I lost a lot of people. I lost a lot of so-called friends and I lost social standing. But the people that I lost, as much as I still love them, they have their own journeys to go on, and they were never going to be good for my journey of happiness and fulfillment. And my journey of happiness with fulfillment does not need those people. I then became exposed to people that could help my journey of health and fulfillment. And hopefully those people who I might have left behind or left in that world will come and join me one day, which I trust and hope that they will. But if they don't, it's their journeys, and I've accepted that, and that's the most that I could ask for or hope for. Then social standing is, if I lost social standing, if I'm not as popular as I used to be, so what? Popularity means nothing in the larger scheme of life. You can be the most popular person, but if you're not happy, it means nothing. It doesn't sound realistic, but that's the reality of it. The most popular people are most likely the most unhappy. And in that space of being unpopular, you find yourself, because when you realize that your happiness or who you are is not dependent on what society thinks of you, you start to think highly of yourself, or you prioritize yourself. And like I said before, away from the noise is where you start to hear yourself. And somewhere in all of this that I'm sharing, you might find your answer. And if you have any ideas, if you have quit drinking alcohol and you have another way of doing it, please share that in the comment section and let people learn. And you can read the comment section and leave your comments if you have ideas or thoughts. If you don't want to quit, if you think that quitting is stupid and it's something you will never do, let me know why. Like, I know exactly why I used to think it was stupid. I used to say I didn't trust people that don't drink. As humans, we love to justify the wrong things that we do, knowing very full well that they're wrong. And with that said, I'm Aewon Wolf signing out. Thank you for watching this video. Really appreciate you taking the time to listen and listen to me talk in my backyard. May you be blessed. I love you. This is Aewon Wolf signing out. Peace out, A-Town. Peace.